in Rugby Park. De la Réunion. Merci beaucoup.
Thank you very much, Councillor Feeney. And reporting from seat number 4 on matters pertaining to urban planning, Councillor Maria Torres.
Bonsoir à tous. Je suis tellement désolée, mais j'ai oublié d'apporter mon report. Sorry, I forgot my report. I'm like a little girl at school. Forgot to do my homework. I did write it. I forgot to bring it. So instead of trying to make up or try to remember all the information, what I'll do is I'll add it to next report, which is in a couple of weeks. But there is one date that is important on my reports, and is the next time that we meet, the PAC, the Planning Advisory Committee meets, which is on December the 13th. And the deadline to bring all your paper and all your documentation is on November 29th, which is, I think, on Friday. So please remember that. The other thing I wanted to remind everybody is to please, we continue doing the inspection. The Urban Planning Department continues doing inspections on works that are already done. And please, I ask you to collaborate with the team. When they call and send a letter, please respond. And this way we can proceed, we can move faster, and we can close your file. I think that's it. If you have any questions, remember that to consult the Urban Planning Department. If you want to do any work at your house, please consult all the time to see if you need a permit or not. And if you have any questions, please consult us or give me a call or send me an email. I'll be happy to answer any queries that you have. Thank you so much. Bonsoir à tous.
Thank you, Councillor Torres. As Councillor Small-Pennefather is not here, there won't be any report tonight pertaining to public security. So we're going to have our first question period. Excuse me. Our first question period, we're going to start with questions from the floor for a maximum of 25 minutes. We limit it to 2 questions per person, a short preamble, your first question, and a follow-up question if you want. And I'll remind you that it's a question period, not a debate period. After questions from the floor, we'll answer questions from residents that have been submitted online today on any topic. Same rule applies. 25 minutes total, 2 questions per person maximum. In the second question period, we will take questions pertaining only to the agenda. And first with the one submitted via our website during this meeting, we will limit it to 10 minutes from the floor and 10 minutes online. So if there's anybody that has any questions, please step up to the microphone, state your name and address, and ask your question.
Cynthia Nichols, 25 Westminster South, Montréal-West, H4X, 1Y6. The reason I state that is because I received a water bill tax. Can you hear me now? Yeah, closer. Closer? How about I bring it down? That's okay? Yes? Okay, so Cynthia Nichols, 25 Westminster South, Montreal-West, H4X, 1Y6. The reason I'm bringing this little booklet up is because our address is not in this book. I did receive a tax bill, so I'm just wondering, is Montreal-West omitting us in a different way again? Neither our names nor address. It skips from 11 to 37 on Westminster. So is that happening throughout Montreal-West? Did we fall through another crack?
I think that's a question that you need to address to the Lovell directory.
It's not just the Lovell directory that I'm concerned about. The fact is that they're receiving their information from, I imagine, the administration.
No, they're not receiving that information from us. That information comes to them from the phone companies. That's how the information comes to them directly. It's got nothing to do with us.
Well, it once was in the book, and now it's not.
So call Lovell and ask them why.
That's something I'll definitely do. I missed your I missed your discussion, speech, preamble. I'm not sure what to call it exactly, but I guess you were referring to me. Now, I'll have you know that on Westminster, we really need some cleaning done. I mean, it's absolutely incredible that we're not having anything done at all because of this project that's taking place, and it's really, really a mess. And so it would be nice if we can have a street cleaner go by.
Absolutely, we can absolutely refer that over to Public Works.
That
And I
would
have
be
to
a
be
good
honest with you,
idea.
I don't know if that would be Public Works or the people running the project, but that comment will definitely get to them.
You should
Well,
know, though, that street cleaning ceases November 15th. So that it
Exactly.
won't be until the spring if
That's-
it's public work.
Well, close to 30 years, that's exactly why I'm bringing it up here today at this meeting. I've noticed that whenever the street cleaner's on the road, a truck will all of a sudden pull up, and this has happened perhaps about 10 times within the last month, and to avoid the street cleaner cleaning the street, and deliberate, and then just leave the minute he passes and turns onto Ainsley or goes past Chris's place. So that's perhaps something you can address with Sajo, because, yeah.
Thank you very much. We'll pass the
Um,
comment along.
Like I said, this discussion that you just had with the community about, I don't know, bad comments, bad remarks, I'll have you know that in the past week, I was hit to the point where I've had these cars, and it just so happens that they were employees of your ex-neighbor, landscapers, who tried to knock me down in the road.
I've never had landscapers as neighbors.
No, I believe you did, because when we moved to this town,
I know who my neighbors
Canbeck
were.
were landscapers. They received contracts. They
Nambeck,
became a
Canbeck was
big,
never
huge
my neighbor.
company.
Thank you very much for your question. We're going to move on to, is there anybody else? You've asked 2 questions. Is there anybody else that wants to ask a question?
Good evening. My name's Nabil Naudary. I live at 109 Strathern. I see that our house is on the list of agenda items tonight, so I don't know if now is the right time or not. We wanted to talk to you about the PAC and a request to change some windows.
So if you can go either way, because it's on the agenda, you can ask your question now, but you can also ask it after in the second question period. It's completely up to you. If it's like a technicality about your particular property, then normally what we say is speak to Councillor Torres, and she may be able to give you a little bit more guidance there. Speak to her offline, you know, like after the meeting. But it's up to you. It's an agenda item, so you can ask it now or you can ask it later. It's up to you.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been to one
Sure,
of these
that's
meetings
fair.
before. I've been here 16 years. I've never come to a meeting, so
That's fair.
I don't want to come just to complain. It's just that we've been talking with Vlad, and we got an email we had submitted twice. We're trying to change windows. We have casement windows on the front of our house. We're in a semi-detached house. Our neighbor has double hung windows. So when we're going to change our windows for the same type of window, looks like the PAC said that we can't change it because our neighbor has double hung.
You can't replace it for the same
Yeah.
model or same.
So it's just kind of a silly little thing that's, you know, occupying our time, and so that we decided to come here tonight.
What's your address again?
109 Strathern?
109, yeah. Okay, we have it here. You'll get your answer when we approve it or not, when I
Okay.
read it. So
Okay.
it's coming up, don't
So we
worry.
just wait-
It's
we'll
on the
wait then.
agenda, yes.
Okay,
Just
thank you.
please wait.
That's it? Okay, so we're going to, oh, sorry.
Bonjour tout le monde. Daniel Boulris, 204 Wolseley Nord. I spoke at the last council meeting and I asked a question about bike paths in Montreal-West. At the last council meeting, I mentioned that I'm a member of the Montreal-West Environmental Action Committee's Bike Safety Subcommittee. And we have been doing a count of the number of rush hour cyclists crossing the chaotic intersection at Westminster and Sherbrooke. And I'd just like to, we have tabulated our results, and I'd like to give a summary here and ask a question.
Mr. Boulderis, will you be able to share those results with us?
Yes.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes,
Like in a
yes,
written
yes.
format, so we can
Yes, sir.
appreciate it. Thank you.
So on numerous days, our members have been counting the total number of cyclists and the number of adults with children on bikes, the number of people riding their bikes on the sidewalk, and other things like the direction people were headed. We were keeping a detailed account of everyone across during certain rush hour times. A detailed breakdown of our findings will be presented at the next Environmental Action Committee meeting. But here are some statistics that will probably interest council. The average number of cyclists who cross the intersection between morning rush hour, that's 7:30 to 8:30, on sunny days, I'll be honest, we didn't do many counts on raining days, is 72. That's the average for that 1 hour. The average number of students is 31. That's a lot of young cyclists every day at an intersection that has no bike path or any measures to ensure young cyclist safety. As I mentioned at the last council meeting, Montreal-West is the only municipality on the island with no bike path network, and I was told then that the agglomeration council was supposed to provide town guidance on this point by the end of 2023. So we're coming to the end of November 2023, so the end of 2023 is fast approaching. I have a question. Has there been any movement on this front?
Elizabeth?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for your question, Dan. We have contacted the AGLO. They have not replied. So we will continue to contact them, and if they continue not to reply, we'll have to talk about it as a council internally.
Okay.
And if I could just add something to that.
Yes.
We made the contacts on the administrative side that we, as Councillor Yulin said, we didn't get an answer. So if we don't get an answer now, we will try and see if I can find somebody on the political side to shake the trees to see where our answer is on the question.
I think, yeah, the tree needs to be shaken. Every other municipality somehow has gotten a bike path network, even though they have to deal with the AGLO also. I don't know why we're held up and everyone else has seemed to have been able to move forward on this. But if nothing comes by the end of the year, can we plan something locally? Whatever they come up with, it's obviously going to join the other bike paths that come from the other municipalities that have bike paths, that come into Montreal-West, where the bike paths die. They're not going to propose something radically different than just joining up the existing réseau, I'm guessing.
Montreal?
Well, yes, Montreal.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
That's a
Yes,
fair
yes.
comment, Mr. Boulders.
Yes.
Absolutely a fair comment. And as Councillor Yulin stated, if we're not going to get anywhere with them, then we have to have the discussion to at least do some stuff internally for our local bike paths.
Yes.
Because the AGLO takes care of the bike paths that kind of like interact with each other a little bit more.
Yes.
But that, as an example, I'm just using it as that we wanted to have a bike path that went down Percival. I don't think that the AGLO gets involved with that.
Okay.
You know, just as an example. And I'm not saying that's where a bike path will be, but I think that's the discussion we'll have afterwards.
Okay. Okay, well, I hope they get back to you.
So do I.
In the month that's
And
left.
thank you for bringing it to our attention.
Yes, okay,
And the
thank
stats would like to see those.
you. Yes, oh, they're
Okay.
interesting.
All right.
Yeah,
Thanks,
yeah,
Mr.
yeah.
Boulders.
Thank you, Dan.
Okay, and I'd like to thank all the people who stood on the corner and filled out the charts on those mornings. Okay, thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it. Okay, so we're going to move to the questions that were sent online. First question comes from Kevin Aladdin, 59 Courtney Drive. Mr. Aladdin asked two questions. We know the town hall is only opened once a week and that we are being encouraged to pay online, but why is it that when we do, we need to reach out to get a receipt? Could we please automatically get a receipt on payment? As an aside, I still have not received my, my confirmation of payment for my water tax. 2, can we get an update on the Easton project? They seem to be encroaching more and more on Westminster, and this needs to be remedied as we go into the winter. The second question was also asked by Gordon Mitchell at 27 Brock South and Richard Grenier at 60 Westland. So, Colleen, if I could leave you to answer the first question, I'll take the second
Yes.
one.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your question, Kevin. First of all, I just wanted to clarify something. The town hall is actually, it's not open one day a week, it's open 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Yes, you're right. A tax receipt is usually only sent out when someone requests it. And actually, very few residents do request it because they seem to get a payment receipt or confirmation from their bank indicating that the payment has been sent. But you should note that if there's ever a balance on your account, we do send a tax receipt by email or mail if there's any kind of balance. Even if, let's say, we've received payment for parking, but your water tax hasn't been paid, we will immediately send out a payment receipt to inform the resident that there is still a balance to pay. So no news is good news if you don't get any kind of a bill from the town. Finally, I do understand that I think the confirmation of your water tax payment was sent out to you today. So you should be getting that shortly. Thank you very much for your question, Kevin.
And in terms of the Eastern project, the people asked, are they still working? They're working inside. We're working with the developer because we are seeing the same encroachment onto Westminster. They seem to be biting more and more onto Westminster on the northbound lanes. We've been focusing, they did some pipe relocation work for us, so we've been focusing on making sure that that pipe relocation is completed and accepted. So we're continuing to follow up with the people developing that project. Thank you for your question, Mr. Aladdin. Next question comes from Gordon Mitchell, 27 Brock South. Is the construction of the new recreation center pool on schedule? That is, will it open to the public for the summer of 2025? And yes, that's still our goal, Mr. Mitchell. Nothing's changed to steer us down a different path with that. Next question from Stan Carney, 449 Wolseley South. Hang on a second here. I can still hear the mayor warning citizens not to put leaves in the streets because they end up in the catch basin and sometimes cause problems. So why did the town allow the flowering crabapple tree on their list of trees to be planted in front of houses? Looks good in the spring when flowering, but one of the messiest trees around once they start dropping their fruit. Worse, you go ahead and plant them right in front of the sewers. If you think you have problems with leaves, wait, remove them all. Councillor Yulin?
Sure. Thanks for your question, Mr. Carney. You're right that the crabapple tree can be messy. In fact, all the trees that exist have some level of mess to them, whether it's dropping leaves or fruits or nuts or what have you. But it's important not only that we plant them, but that we plant a diversity of trees. We try to use native species if we can. And we try to use the right tree for the right spot. So crabapple trees are a native tree. They have lots of benefits. They're salt tolerant. We give residents a choice of 3 trees when a tree is going to be planted on their property, and that if it's a small space, that's often one that we offer them to have planted. So we do plant them, and we will still continue to plant them as a choice. Because we have such a diversity of trees, though, they're not offered that often. We make sure that we don't have a lot of one tree or another in the town. So I understand your point that they can cause some problems, but as with every tree, that can be an issue. So thanks for your question. I appreciate your concern.
Thank you very much. Next question from Adam Levy asks 2 questions. First question, the holiday train is an exciting time of year for Montreal-West citizens and Montrealers gathering around the train station to see the show. Does the town generate any revenue or incur any costs with the passing of the holiday train? If so, how much approximately for 2022 and 2023? I'll answer this first part. We assume the costs associated with the train coming in. That means planning and coordination locally, having our teams set up and take down, which are minor, and any employee overtime for the staff that are covering events. The Recreation, Public Works, and Public Security departments are involved. I don't have a report on the actual costs on hand. The comeback, or whatever the benefits, if you want, is that we are able to collect money and collect food, more for, in this case here. This year was Montréal-Ouest, and every year CP gives a check also to the food bank. So that's something that's very important for us. Second question from the same gentleman, town council meetings broadcast on YouTube. There are ads playing on the webcast of the meetings when you're not live. To watch a 60-minute meeting, a citizen must endure over 14 minutes of ads on some 40 interruptions. I've already written to the town on this subject last year, and no action has been taken to date. Please either deactivate the ads feature or find an alternative platform. A streaming town council meeting should not be providing revenue to any parties, town or otherwise. See other towns to see examples. Councillor Yulin, please.
Sure, thanks very much for your question. Well, we certainly don't monetize that. YouTube has changed its policy recently, which allows them to put ads on basically any site that doesn't have a partnership agreement with them, and the town isn't eligible for that because we don't have that many viewers. We'll look into it and see if there's anything more we can do about that, but essentially individuals who watch YouTube are able to deactivate the ad feature if they pay a fee to YouTube. But the town on its end, using the YouTube station or the YouTube platform, at the moment there's nothing we can do given their new policy. But I understand your concern, and we'll see if there's anything more we can do about that. But at the moment, you know, I beg your indulgence to continue watching, and hopefully you can press skip the ads and get over that hump. But thanks for alerting us to this.
Thank you very much. Next question comes from Joanna Dewey, 232 Percival, two-part question. Both questions relate to the new Sports and Recreation Center. Can the town repost the FAQ section of the website for this project? For some reason, when I've tried to consult it recently, it was not working. And two, I wonder whether the town council or other group within the town has prepared a business plan to provide details for how the new rec center will generate revenue to offset the estimated $600,000 increase in salaries that was projected for 2025. Thanks. Councillor Feeney, please.
Yes. Thank you very much, and thank you for your question, Joanna. Yes, on the first note about the website, the FAQs are actually still available on the website. As it turned out, there had been a hyperlink to the FAQs that was broken, but that has since been fixed. So I'm hoping if you go on now, you will be able to see them. In terms of the additional revenues, yes, there was an analysis done which was reported. It was done by the recreation staff for projected revenues of the new facility. It indicated, very conservatively actually, that we could anticipate at least an additional $600,000 in revenues. As I say, it was most of our revenue projections are conservative, and we feel this one is as well. Some of the factors influencing that additional revenue are the fact that the rink will now be open 12 months of the year instead of 6, and the daily hours of operation will be increased. So this will almost triple the number of hours which is available to rent the rink and also to run programs. The ice service will now be regulation size, so we will be able to host games and tournaments that we were unable to in the past. The hourly ice rental cost will increase due to market prices and the improved facilities. And we have also reviewed costs and demands with other municipalities to arrive at these projected revenues for this and for some of our other recreational activities. So thank you very much for your question. I hope that responds to it.
Thank you, Councillor Feeney, and thank you for your questions, Joanna. Next question comes from Harold Knowles, 256 Percival. Can we get some details of the sewer problem and road cave-in that occurred recently at Curzon Strathern? Is it indicative of a wider problem? Councillor Yulin, please.
Sure. Thanks for your question, Harold. See you in the audience. As I mentioned in my report, there were 2 water breaks on Curzon, and they did not indicate a wider problem. That actually wasn't a cave-in. The team had to dig a larger hole in order to get to the pipe, so that's why it looked like a big hole in the street, but it wasn't actually the asphalt caved in. It was that we dug a bigger hole in order to fix the pipe. So we specifically asked Public Works if it was a larger problem or just 2 water breaks on the same line, and we got the answer back that it was just 2 water breaks. It wasn't some larger problem in that area. But thanks for your question.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Next question from Judy Kennedy, 151 Strathern North. Is the town council aware of the new stance that Côte Saint-Luc has taken on the issue of tempos? Article in the Suburban, November 15th, 23, allowing tempos in Côte Saint-Luc. Why can't we follow suit, especially for those who do not have a garage or who are elderly? maybe MATA could consider the allowance of tempos as a gesture of understanding the needs of the elderly and actually doing something concrete in pursuit of making our towns elderly friendly. What research was done on the issue as was reported in the Informer? Councillor Feeney, please.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you for your question, Judy. Yes, I did read that Côte St. Luc was going to do this as a one-year pilot project, that is. So that was their decision not to go through with it fully, but as a one-year pilot project. We have answered this question many times, and it really, I'll have to say again, it is not the intention of this council to change our policy on tempos at this time. In addition to the fact that they are not aesthetically pleasing and they can be up for up to 6 months of the year, some studies have found that they pose security issues, whether it's the sight line for drivers backing into the street or even going forward into the street and not having a clear sight line, whether it is the potential for collapse if the snow is not cleared from, because it does have to be cleared if there's a heavy snow. And then there's other security issues. They can kind of block the view of a front door, somebody could hide in them, etc. Anyway, there's there are several things that we did find out when we looked at it. But also I want to say, it's, we do feel for seniors, but there are other options. There are options of hiring a snow removal service is one of them, that's for sure, or a neighbor, but even a snow removal service. And let's face it, the cost of investing in a tempo and then paying for the installation and deinstallation every year, that's not nothing.
Vaughn, as workers park in the curve northbound, making it dangerous to wait for the light. It's a very good point, Mr. Grenier, so that's something that we will be bringing up to public security and ask that their workers working at the project park further down to stay away from the curve. So it's a very good point, and we'll pass that along. Thank you for your question. La prochaine question vient de Jonathan Plourde, 43 rue Parkside. Bonjour, considérant les travaux pour les prochaines années pour l'Arena Complexe, je souhaiterais proposer l'idée d'un parc chien hivernal dans le parc Strathern. Notre famille est résidente depuis 10 ans de la ville et nous aimions beaucoup la proximité du parc à chiens temporaire sur le terrain de soccer. Une installation similaire serait très agréable et assez simple, surtout dans la section adjacente à l'école EBS. De plus, une patinoire libre dans le parc serait aussi très agréable pour les enfants. Merci de votre compréhension. Alors, je réponds dans les mots que Madame la conseillère Small Pennefather m'a fournis aujourd'hui. Le conseil a examiné un certain nombre d'options pour un parcours temporaire pour chiens. Plusieurs facteurs doivent être pris en considération, sécurité, taille, bruit, etc. Il est important de noter le contexte de la réalisation de ce parc permanent pour les chiens à côté de l'hôtel de ville. Il a fallu des années pour trouver un terrain à côté de l'hôtel de ville pour l'enclos permanent. Le parc George Booth a été envisagé, mais la majorité des résidents s'y sont opposés. Bien qu'il y ait suffisamment de terrain, le terrain est environ 1/5 de la taille de Hodgson et n'a pas la même marge de recul. Même si la piste n'est pas accolée aux maisons de Fairfield, il n'y avait pas un tampon comme sur Hodgson qui était niché dans un endroit parfait, suffisamment éloigné de les maisons de Fairfield et de Bedbrook. Le train passe extrêmement près de cette zone de parc, et à tel point que si vous avez un chien anxieux, il pourrait y agir. Si un chien s'éloignait de sa laisse, il n'y aurait pas beaucoup d'espace avant qu'il se lance sur la route. Alors malheureusement, c'est pour cette raison qu'il n'y aura pas un parc canin temporaire sur George Booth, et c'est la même raison sur Strathern. Ils sont très proches de les maisons, il y a beaucoup des installations des jeux, il n'y aura pas beaucoup d'espace pour y mettre une. Pour votre deuxième question, une patinoire libre, il va être installé sur le parc Strathern cette année. Merci pour votre question. Next question comes from Paul Chichek, 10 Strathern South. Although the situation has slightly improved since the train station revamp, the Westminster Rail crossing is still extremely dangerous, with a car being hit by a train recently and countless near misses. Is there a plan to improve the safety of that intersection that puts everyone at high risk? Example, customized traffic lights. There are pedestrians walking along the east side of the crossing, which is prohibited and increases the overall danger. Further, however, there's only a sign indicating that it's forbidden on the south side of the crossing, but not on the north side. Could a sign and/or barrier be installed? In terms of the traffic lights, Mr. Chichek, we were advised by SEMA many years ago that a light system at that level crossing would be extremely complex and would need to be coordinated with passing trains. It would likely engender more frustration for waiting motorists that could lead to unsafe behaviors. However, that likely warrants a revisit now. The traffic patterns have returned to normal. It's the project at Turcotte is finished, so I think it's time for the SEMA to come back in and reevaluate that work. As for the car that was bumped by the train, apparently the car had gone around the barricades that had been down. For the east side of Westminster near the tracks, EXO is planning to install a metal barricade, and there are currently signs indicating pedestrians should not cross. That's also part of the overall Westminster safety plan. So thank you for your questions, Mr. Chichek. Next question from Linda Hammerschmidt, 226 Ballantyne. Given the large number of dog owners and dogs in the town, it would be great if a Santa photo op for 2023 involving the dogs was arranged. The cost, which could be part of a fundraiser for any of the various programs the town offers to its residents. Would the town undertake to do this for the current year and for subsequent years? And would the mayor accept to be Santa for the photo op? So we've already launched the question to the recreation department, and if they can take it on, they'll happily do it. And I said that I would also dress up and sit down with the dogs for the picture. So that's be my pleasure as well. Jennifer Melnick, 140 Ballantyne South. There have been several emergency infrastructure repairs this year for sinkholes, water breaks, etc. My question is, how much has this emergency work cost the taxpayers this year? Was it already allotted in the budget? What is the plan to avoid these costly emergency repairs in the future, costly for the city and for residential damages? Councillor Yulin, please.
Thank you for your question, Jennifer. Well, you're right. They are costly for the citizens and for the residents. We definitely budget for certain things. We budget for water breaks and the routine emergencies that we know we're going to likely have in the year. But then some of them, no. I mean, some of them, like the one we had on Sherbrooke and Westminster, was very large, and we had to get a special contractor in for that. So that's going to come out of our working fund or some other area in the budget. That's part of what we do when we budget, was we have to make an estimate, and then if things like that come up, find the money somewhere else in the budget. We won't know the exact number, however, until the end of the year, and then a little beyond when we have those books fully closed. I will say that when you ask what is the plan for the future, our plan is pretty well as it always has been, and that is to continue to invest in the road work on a routine basis. So every year, pretty well every year, we're redoing streets, we're redoing blocks, digging right down to the foundations and putting in new sewers and such. And we'll continue with that infrastructure work, one street at a time. And we've done a tremendous amount so far since 2009, and we'll continue to do so. So that's essentially our plan for this. It's definitely working on the streets we've done. So thanks very much for your question, Jennifer.
Thank you very much. Next question comes from Stephen Zabo, 201 Brock Avenue North. Can I demolish my garage and rebuild a new one and the same place? Councillor Torres, please.
Yes, thank you for your question. I would ask you to please consult, to redirect this question to the Urban Planning Department. They would be able to tell you the process, what needs to be done, and the length, and the whole process of acquiring a permit. You can contact them via our website, the town's website. There are two ways of doing it. You either go into the Urban Planning Department section, and then you're going to find the telephone number for Agatha Larkio. You can call her, and she will send you all the information. But, however, I advise you to go into our website on the front page under Contact Us, send us an email, and it would go directly to the Urban Planning Department. And if it is not her, it would be Vlad who would answer you, and they would do it as soon as they can and give you all the information. So, yes, please contact the Urban Planning Department. for the permit and all the information required to redo or to build the garage. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Question comes from Peter Cooney, 101 Brock South. The question that Mr. Cooney asked was answered in June and again at the meeting on October 2nd. So, Mr. Cooney, you can refer back to those. Brian Benedetti, 22 Brock South. Will the town be providing any advice or guidance to taxpaying citizens of Brock South as to the best way to proceed with the recovery of losses incurred in the flood of July 14th not covered by insurance? For most, this would include insurance deductible, premium increase caused by the claim, and loss of complete use and enjoyment of the home for a period. No, there won't be any way for us to come back and provide any kind of guidance on that. Sonia Page, 53 Wolseley North. Hi, when is Montreal-West getting a Bixi stand? Eco-friendly, easy on the roads, and great for physical fitness. I've been trying to get a meeting with the Bixi people for more than a year now. However, when I had a conversation with the mayor from NDG Côte-Neige, they were talking about putting a Bixi stand at the train station, which would kind of serve our purposes as well. But I don't know where they're at with that. I haven't followed up. I spoke to her. This was in August, and I haven't spoken to her since about it. Thank you for your question. Linda Dixon, 32 Bryn Mawr. When will our street sign be replaced? When the truck hit the traffic light at the Five Corners several months ago, it took out the sign for Bryn Mawr Avenue. Only the traffic light was replaced, but there's still no sign up with our street name, only Westminster. We've seen people getting off the bus looking for it, very confused. Councillor Yulin, please.
Thanks, Linda. Thanks for your question. Yes, the sign has been ordered and just not received yet, but so we haven't forgotten about it. It's in the mail, I guess is what I can say, but it should be up shortly. Thanks for your question.
Thank you very much. We're going to return back to the regular agenda. So the first one, contracts in the town clerk's office, agreement with Hydro-Quebec for RD Paul Park. RD Paul Park was redone 3, 4, 5 years ago, something along those lines. And because there's an easement there from Hydro-Quebec that has lines overhead, we needed to have authorization from them to have our park built there. So this is an agreement. It took all this time to get this agreement with Hydro-Quebec. So we need a resolution to sign this agreement.
Whereas the town of Montreal-West is the owner of lot 1292370 on the east of which is located RD Paul Park. Whereas Hydro-Quebec owns a power line crossing this park and detains easement rights that allowed it to restrict and control activities nearby the said power line. Whereas to allow public access to use of the park, the town has requested Hydro-Quebec to accept the installation of playground equipment. Whereas Hydro-Quebec has offered the town to accept an agreement allowing the presence of this equipment and maintenance work of the park. Therefore, I move that the town of Montreal-West agree to the conditions of an agreement with Hydro-Quebec entitled Permission, file number 1402-024/377284, authorizing the use of RD Paul Park to the ends mentioned in the preamble of this resolution, that the agreement entails no cost for the town and be in effect from July 15th, 2023 to July 14th, 2024, with an automatic renewal clause unless a 30-day notice is given by Hydro-Quebec prior to the end of this agreement or of any extension thereof. And last, that the Director General be authorized to sign it on behalf of the town.
Thank you very much. Councillor Torres, can I have a seconder, please?
I second that.
Thank you. Councillor Yulin, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Administration and Finances, approval of disbursements for October 28th to November 24, 2023.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move that the list of accounts payable from October 28th to November 24th, 2023, totaling $636,938.61, be approved and paid as listed.
Thank you. Councillor Feeney, can I have a seconder, please?
I second it.
Thank you. Councillor Torres, all in favor, please?
Aye.
Thank you. Délégation des pouvoirs pour le mois de novembre 2023.
Oui, je propose que soit approuvé le rapport de la directrice générale concernant l'exercice des pouvoirs délégués en vertu du règlement numéro 2005/002 pour le mois de novembre 2023.
Merci, la conseillère Torres. Je peux avoir l'appui, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Oui.
Merci. Subsidy application for the gas excise tax. Every 3 years, we're awarded a grant subsidy for under the tech program, under what we refer to as the gasoline tax. So every year we have to pass a resolution saying that we're going to use it and we're going to spend a certain amount of money and things along those lines. So this is a bookkeeping thing. It's got to be done every year. So if I could have somebody make the motion, please.
Certainly. Whereas the town has taken cognizance of the guide concerning the payment terms of the government contribution within the scope of the program regarding gasoline tax and the contribution of Quebec, the TEC, for the years 2019 to 2023, whereas the town must follow the applicable terms of the guide in order to receive a contribution in the amount of $2,414,686, as confirmed by the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing, for the upgrading of sewer and aqueduct equipment, priority 1, and the carrying out of sewer and aqueduct lines, renewal work, priority 3. Therefore, I move that the town of Montreal-West undertake to comply with the applicable content of the guide mentioned in the preamble. Secondly, that the town accept and agree to be fully and solely liable and to exonerate the Canadian and Quebec governments, as well as their ministers, officers, employees, and agents, in the event of any claims, requests, losses, damages, and costs of whatever nature arising from bodily injuries to third parties, including death, and the material losses or damages to property that may be attributed to a deliberate or a negligent behavior directly or indirectly linked to the capital expenditures realized with the proceeds from the funding received under the TEC 2019 to 2023 program. Thirdly, that the town approve and authorize the sending of the partial work planning enclosed with this resolution, file number 1166047, version number 5, and all of the required documentation to the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing in order to receive the contribution of which it was notified as mentioned in the preamble. And fourth, that the town undertake to reach the minimum level of investment in terms of municipal infrastructure, that is, to spend at least $50 per person per year during each one of the 5 years of the program, meaning a total of $250 per person. Fifth, that the town also undertake to inform the Ministry of Municipal Affairs and Housing of any modification that may be brought to the said work planning approved by this present resolution. Sixth, that the town certify that the attached work planning, as approved by the present resolution, version number 5, includes true and complete expenses and reflects cost estimates for eligible work.
Thank you very much. Councillor Yulin, can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, I second that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Finney, all in favor, please?
Aye.
Thank you. Release of the balance from contributions made by Montreal-West to the Guarantee Fund, used as a collective deductible of reconstituted municipalities on the island of Montreal for general liability insurance contract for the year 2013 to 2014. We do a group call for tender organized by this one here was by UMQ, I think. And part of it was, in this case here, to buy some general liability insurance. We had to contribute as well to a general deductible fund. Now, there was money left over in that general deductible fund that needs to be redispersed back to the municipalities. So in Montreal-West's case, in that 2013, we're getting back a whole, was it $500? Yeah, something along those lines. So we need to have a resolution to that effect.
All right. Whereas the town of Montreal-West is the holder of an insurance policy, DL009-00010, from Lloyd's, covering the period from January the 1st, 2013 to January the 1st, 2014. Whereas the said general liability insurance policy includes an individual deductible plus a share in a collective deductible funded by the contributions from the reconstituted municipalities of the island of Montreal as a guarantee fund in the amount of $525,001. Whereas the share paid by Montreal-West amounted at the time to $17,453, that is 3.324% of the total. Whereas the claims declared to Lloyd's during the term of this policy have all been processed and the files are now closed. Whereas there are no more costs to be entailed and supported by the town as a result of such claims for the period from January 1st, 2013 to January 1st, 2014. Whereas the town requests the reimbursement of its share of the unused balance in the guarantee fund, the total of which amounts to $15,193.17. Whereas it is understood that the release of the guarantee fund shall terminate any obligations whatsoever of the insurer except for claims that may involve the guarantee it offers in primary liability above the collective deductible. Therefore, I move, first, that the Union de Municipalités de Québec be authorized to proceed with reimbursing the balance of the contributions made to the guarantee fund by the reconstituted municipalities of the island of Montreal in keeping with their respective shares, meaning an amount of $505.08 for the town of Montreal-West. Second, that the town of Montreal-West undertake to notify the insurer of any facts or circumstances that may result in a claim, as well as of any claim, no matter its importance, that may be received under the insurance policy that was effective in 2013. Third, that Lloyd's then inquire or intervene as it shall see fit. Fourth, that the town undertake to pay back its share of the balance in the event of a future claim affecting it that would fall under the guarantee fund that was effective in 2013.
Thank you very much, Councillor Feeney. Can I have a seconder, please?
I second that.
Thank you, Councillor Yulin. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Very good. Next one is the Urban Department Site Planning Projects and Architectural Integration Program.
I move to acknowledge receipt of the minutes of a meeting held by the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, on November 22nd, 2023. To approve with conditions under the SPIP the following plans submitted to this meeting in accordance with the recommendations of the PAC as outlined in the minutes. 109 Strather North, replacement of 10 windows. 11 Valentine South, replacement of 13 windows, a patio door, and painting of windows, shutters, fascia, soffits, and cladding. To defer the examination of the following plans to the next meeting of the council in accordance with the recommendations of PAC as outlined in the minutes. 19 Banstead, replacement of 18 windows, the front door and transom, a patio door, a single door, the garage door, as well as the vertical cladding, soffits, and fascia. And last, to refuse the following plans in accordance with the recommendations of the PAC as outlined in the minutes. 452-454 Westminster North, replacement of a balcony door and a window.
Thank you very much, Councillor Torres. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, I second that.
Thank you, Councillor Feeney. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Human Resources, nomination permanente d'une proposée aux travaux et à la propriété.
Oui, excusez-moi. Je propose que l'employé numéro 900 soit nommé préposé aux travaux et la propriété classe 3 à titre permanent en date aujourd'hui.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. Je peux avoir l'appui, s'il vous plaît?
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Feeney. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît?
Oui.
Oui.
Parfait, merci. Amendment to Resolution 2022-09-20-005.
Whereas a committee on access to information and the protection of personal information was created by virtue of the resolution quoted in title, whereas the said resolution provides that this committee is made of 4 members, one of them being the assistant treasurer, I move that paragraph 1 of the operative provisions of resolution number 2022-09-20-005 be amended by replacing assistant treasurer to treasurer.
Thank you very much, Councillor Torres. Can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, I second that, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Feeney. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you. I still hereby state that all council members in attendance tonight have filed their statements of pecuniary interest with Maître Gilbert. Second question period. Second question period, folks, is on items pertaining strictly to the agenda. So if you have any questions pertaining strictly to the agenda, you can go ahead and ask them.
Still Cynthia Nichols, still 25 Westminster South. I'm really surprised. I'm watching all of you, and you are so, I don't know whether it's uncaring or I don't know what, but the first break was here at the town hall years ago. I brought it to your attention. I was one day late. After the 15 days, I think I was 16 days, and therefore I could no longer bring it to the attention of council because your insurance did not cover that. The second break was the rerouting of the waterway of the St. Pierre River under my house. The third was Bell Canada when their access chamber broke. And each and every time, years ago when I brought this to your attention, you excused it, you dismissed it, you didn't even acknowledge that these things had taken place. They were, what was it? Oh, we checked the water catch and it seems everything's fine. Oh, we tapped on the pipes. Apparently they're not broken. And this went on for years and years and years. We're now here where we're listening to everybody complaining. The insurance companies are giving us huge premiums simply because we're having so many problems in town with our water. I mean, I don't know about you, but to sit here and to not acknowledge what's going on is scary as a taxpayer, as a resident. And to mention the fact that there are residents who will speak to me about what is going on, but they won't bring it to council because they know that if they do, it will not be acknowledged. What do you say to that? You're like, I don't know, comatose. It's like you're uncaring. You don't care about people who have lost $200,000 in the last. You're uncaring. And their insurance is causing them problem. I meet them at McDonald's and they tell me they can't get any satisfaction at all. People are complaining and you're not acknowledging that.
What is your question,
important.
Cynthia?
My question is, what can you do? And if you can do anything, will you?
We do everything we can, and sometimes we can't do anything. And that was the question that was asked to us tonight. And if we can't do anything, we don't do anything. Thanks for your question.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? And like I said, it may be more a direct conversation. Okay, so if I could have somebody move to close the meeting, please.
Oui, je propose de lever la séance.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. Je peux voir l'appui, s'il vous plaît?
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Torres. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Oui.
Merci. Maria?
Yeah.
Yeah, will you have a conversation?
Yes,
Okay,
yes,
thanks.
absolutely.